Good evening everybody, it's the 12th of August. I thought it's about time I showed a video of where I am at the moment in the season. And as you can see, these are all the plants that are going to be under cover in a few days or a week or so's time. These are all the giants I've got. I've only got Canora Valentine this year. I'm growing in numbers, and as you can see, I've got about three or four buds there, about the same stage I took on the same day, hoping that they might make the bank holiday weekend. I might be pushing my luck. By the way, this is take two. I started off a few moments ago filming the same thing, and then as I crouched down to show you the plants lower down, I sat on a stinging nettle and said a rude word, so I thought I'd better start again. So anyhow, these are the giants, and I'm quite pleased. They've got I've just got to go through them again and take all these little side shoots away, put all the couple of little side shoots, and just strip all the side shoots off. I went through all the small decks, most of them yesterday, but I've just got to go through these, which I've reduced in numbers the other week, but I've just got to go through them, take all those little side shoots off. But they seem to be coming along quite nicely. Got a few plants that are a little bit further behind. Hopefully they'll still make the end, maybe towards the middle to the end of September. Got one or two there that are budding up now, and they'll be disbudded tomorrow. And then I've got some Hamari Accord, just about eight or maybe 10 plants of those. There's a large, which I'm growing 4 up, and not grown it before, so we shall see how that comes on. Then I've got my double row of Canora Challenger, which lost a few plants due to root rot. I did put a couple of odd giants, spare giants in the end, but again they rotted off pretty much. And the Challenger, well, a bit hit and miss. Some plants look okay, and again 1 or 2 early buds which I'm letting come just for a couple of early shows, and I know they're going to be way too early. But there was 3 or 4 plants that rotted off early on, so I've replaced them, but they're taking an age to catch up, if they ever will. But hopefully, I'll find a few off of those. Then a couple of poor Eastwood Moonlight plants, I think I'll whip those out, although they may have been replacements, because I did lost a few to root rot early on. And then I've got the rest is a bit of a mixed bag. I've got a few Eastwoods and a few cream Moonlight. So and they're looking reasonable. As we come round, I know I haven't cleaned up after last night's stripping down, so there'll be a bit of a mess on the ground. I've been out all day today as well. And then I've got a double row of Hillcrest Candy at this end, which I'm not overly convinced are any good. Look like they're a bit virused. And some White Candy. That's my main medium semi-cactus this year. They look okay. I've stripped them all back a few days ago, and hopefully they'll make something. Then onto the small decks, which I should have grown just 3 varieties of small deck this year, but due to not having much luck with rooting the cuttings, I've gone from 3 varieties back to 6 again, same as last year. So I've got about I don't know, 12, 14, 16 plants of each variety depending. So I've got all the Dianes and a few Blight and Everest, which I've got to grow a few of those, haven't I? And then just the last, oh, they're all Dianes. You can see where I've stripped them all back last night. I must have a tidy up first thing in the morning. Can't do it this evening as I've got to go out again shortly. And then that's my row of Oakwood Goldcrest. And I only grew on a single stop this year, so I've struggled a bit to get the numbers. Some are only sort of 4 up. So I did knock a load back a few weeks ago. Hopefully, you know, they'll come for a bit later on. So there could be some chunky blooms, only 4 up on some. And then we go outside to the other beds now. This is all my miniature cactus. I've cut right down this year, miniature cactus, only doing, should have only been 3 varieties, but again with the problems with cuttings, I've got 4. So I've got Western Pirate and Jasudi Hercules and a few Jasudi Telstar and a few Western Buccaneer. I wasn't going to grow the Telstar, but my Buccaneer let me down big time, so I chucked in a few Telstar. Hopefully they'll make something. Then onto the miniature decks. I've got this is one I wasn't going to grow this year, which is Blighton Valentine. I've only got 7 plants, or 7 or 8 plants, 8 plants, sorry. Didn't do very well for me last year, so I wasn't going to bother, but had a spare space, so I thought I'd throw them in. I've got two plants that weren't looking very good, but they seem to be picking up, so who knows. Then I've got the rest of the row is Skelmersdale Jane, which, as you can see, looks on my camera looks very yellow. It's a much brighter green leaf, but they're looking really good. I'm really pleased with those, and they're all growing around about 9 to 10 up. Again, everything this year is pretty much on a single stop, and all I've done is knock buds off that were going to form too early, or that had already formed. Then I've got some Germander. Again, I didn't have very much success with rooting cuttings, so I've only got about a dozen plants, and I lost 1 or 2 to root rot down at the end there. It just got ever so wet over here. The ground is on the heavy side, very heavy side. Then I've got the rest of the row is Polventon Christabel, which I'm quite pleased with. I've taken quite a few buds already, but there's plenty more to come. So yeah, looking forward to seeing those. Then on this side I've got Blighton Stella. It's the first year I'm growing that, and along with Skelmersdale Jane. So I haven't grown those before. So again, taken a few early buds. I knocked a few back early, so hopefully they'll be just right for Wisley. I've got an imposter. I've got another plant there which looks a little bit like a Diane leaf. I'm not sure what that is. I'm just going to let it flower. And then I've got Blighton Lady in Red, which I've taken a few buds, secured a few buds on, and the rest are all coming along nicely. So hopefully they'll be okay. And then the next row is Mary's Germander, and again I lost a few plants to root rot this end. This end got exceptionally wet. It all drains down to this end of the plot. So I've replaced a few plants, but again I haven't really got over it because it's just been constantly wet up until about 3 days ago. It seems to have not stopped raining. Then we've got Mary's Germander. The rest of the row is, well, it's all Mary's Germander in this row. All at different stages. Some are a bit younger. I had to swap 1 or 2 plants over. But they seem to be getting away. And I've got some more Mary's Germander this side. So hopefully, I would like to think I'll find a vase or 2 out of all those. Then I've got all my water lilies, which I've cut down a little bit. Was only going to grow 3, and I've ended up growing 4 or 5 varieties. So there's Pam Howden. I've got 1 plant there that looks decidedly dodgy. I think that's suffered with root rot, so that'll probably have to come out. Then I've got some Cameo, which I'm letting flower early. I'm just going to let it go now. There's plenty of buds coming, so I'm not overly worried. But keep knocking them all back. The water lilies come thick and fast. And then the last couple of rows, I've got some Taratahi Ruby, which again I knocked a lot back, so they're going to take a little bit longer to come through now. But they're all budding up. They're getting there, so I should be disbudding those tomorrow. And some Gwyneth. And a few odd ones at the end. I think I've got some Holly Hill Serenity and some Sandia Isa, just to finish it off. And the last row, which has been probably the most disappointing so far, is the Rycroft Zoe and Greenway Zoe, and they're just a bit hit and miss at the moment. Again, I lost a few plants to root rot and had to replace some, but even the ones I've replaced don't look at all happy. I think it's just been so constantly wet, so I think I'm going to struggle a bit with those. But yeah, I've got half a dozen plants, so hopefully I shall find a vase or 2. And that's pretty much it for all the good stuff, or hopefully the good stuff. These are just the stock beds, which this stock bed has done okay this year. One of the others hasn't, but this one's okay. And I'm just using these for the local village shows leading up to the big shows, where obviously the main ones will take over. But that's Primrose Diane, I believe. It's getting quite tall now. It's pushing 6 foot. But as you can see over the back there, the all-time favourite Kenora Sunset, looking splendid in this afternoon's light. And this one at the front there is Tracy's Diane. And so there we go. That's one of the stock beds. And yeah, hopefully there'll be plenty more blooms over the coming weeks. And yeah, fingers crossed that we will have a good season. So yep, next time I do a video, hopefully there'll be a bit more colour. See you soon.